First, we're chosen according to God's foreknowledge. We're not chosen because of anything in us. That's why theologians speak of unconditional election. And it's funny because a lot of Christians talk about God's unconditional love. But when you start actually talking about what unconditional means, we back away for some reason. But these verses teach unconditional grace. We are chosen by God according to the foreknowledge of the Father, it says. And foreknowledge does not mean foresight. This is really important. It is not the case that God looks down the corridors of history and sees whom will choose Jesus, and then God chooses on the basis of their choice. That's sometimes the way it's defined. That won't work for multiple reasons. It is not foresight of what may happen, people jumping in and choosing of their own accord and God responding to their choice. It's not foreknowledge of what would happen. It's actually foreknowledge of particular people. It's for love, which means to know beforehand, to love beforehand, because that word for knowledge in the Bible is more than just merely theoretical information. It is not a knowing of what might take place. It is a knowing of people. It's an intimate word. It is a covenantal word. For example, in Genesis chapter 4, verse 1, Adam knew, there's that word, Adam knew Eve and became pregnant. That's some intimate knowledge right there. That kind of knowledge produces babies. That is a love. We see that in Amos chapter 3, verse 2. You only, of all the families of the earth, have I known, have I loved. You see it in Romans chapter 8, verse 29. Those whom he foreknew, and again, those people, particular people, those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son, that we might be the firstborn among many brothers and sisters. And those whom he predestined, this same group, these he also called. Those whom he called, he also justified. Those whom he called, he also glorified. Salvation is of the Lord from eternity past, before he even created, to eternity future. So in the mind of God, glorification, which doesn't happen until Christ comes back, is a done deal for those who are his. Romans 11:2. God did not reject his people whom he foreknew, whom he loved beforehand. And a little bit later in 1 Peter, we're going to see that Jesus was foreknown before the foundation of the world. And so it's this idea of love. He loved us beforehand. Why did he choose us? According to the foreknowledge of God. What does that mean? Why did he choose us? Because he loved us. Why did he love us? Because he chose to. Why did he choose to? Because he loved us. It's exactly what he tells his people in Deuteronomy 7. Well, it didn't have anything to do with you. You weren't smarter, you weren't bigger, you weren't brighter. It's because I chose to love you. This should be encouraging. He has always loved you if you're in Christ. Loved you. Not in the abstract, not like loved a group of people that might choose him. No, loved you. In fact, Revelation 13:8 says your name was written in the book of life before the foundation of the world. God didn't love you in the abstract. He loved you before eternity. You can persevere when times get hard. He's known you intimately. Again, this isn't meant to spark controversy, but comfort. Not debate, but delight. You are his. He says a little bit later in those verses in Romans, verse 33, who shall bring a charge against God's elect? If God is for you, who can be against you?